Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, and this is episode 352, 348 weeks in a row. And yes, this is the longest running real estate broadcast, live broadcast. I'm going to say in North America, right? Because we have to do that simply because we have this gentleman on that is from north of the border. And from what I understand, they're having some problems just like we had a year or so ago, but we might get into that. We might not. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I hope everybody can hear me. We have David Greenspan, Microsoft. Listen to me. MindShare 101 in Canada. Dave's a good friend. And we're going to do something a little different today than we've done over the years. But first, hit the videotape, Nelson. Real estate agents want to acquire clients consistently to grow their business and income for that great lifestyle. This broadcast brings you the best people in the industry to support that quest. This is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and Align, your premier real estate solution. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, and we're still going through our changes with the studio and the cameras and the mics and everything else, and I hope everything's working well. If we're not, please let us know. But anyway, we have David Greenspan on today. And again, David, this is episode 352, 348 weeks in a row. This is I believe, your third time on the broadcast, and we'll get those other numbers. But David Greenspan and I met a number of years ago. We couldn't figure out what year it was the other day when we were speaking. And we met at a NAR convention, or David was having it. It was a very impromptu session, as I remember. It was just people sitting around, and we had a MindShare, I guess, that day, and a mind meld where we were quick friends. David Greenspan. Let's talk a little bit about him. He's the CEO and founder of MindShare 101, a nationally recognized keynote speaker, trainer, and coach specializing in sales and marketing. He helps sales professionals and businesses bridge the gap between online and offline marketing to maximize ROI. One of the things that Dave does is that he is really, he's to the point, he's blunt, he gives honest advice, and his mission is to help real estate professionals and all professionals build MindShare, ensuring that they're the first name that people think of when it comes to their profession or their business. But I know David as, a mind friend, a guy that I can have a conversation with. Like, David, we talked the other day, and we hadn't spoken in probably a year or so. And it was like we were just like hanging out 2 seconds earlier, which is what I mean. It's kind of a definition of a friend. And I really appreciate that. So what I want to do today, Dave, is I want to talk a little bit the same way. But first, before we get into that, there's two things I want to know. Number one, I want to know your journey, but I got to ask you that other question first. What does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's finale.
Hell yeah, man. I knew you would get that. I mean, even people who've been on a broadcast before have missed it, but you got it, my friend. Thank you so much. And Dave, I talked about MindShare 101. I talked about, a lot of different things as we started the broadcast. I mean, we can talk about, people's paths and blueprint for success, which I know we're going to get into. But tell me about you, man. Tell me about, where you started, because everybody, not everybody comes to a point of success, and it's not easy. And I always like to do this journey thing simply because it tells everybody that, hey, you know what? He had to bust his ass to get where he is today, and he still busts his ass. Talk to me, man.
Dude, first, I want to say a big thank you, man. I truly enjoy our conversations. Moreover, I enjoy the connection that we have. I love the fact that I've been invited back on here to this show that is one of the longest running, shows in North America. You do a kick-ass job, Dave. I love the consistency of it. And we all know that consistency is the magic ingredient to achieving anything that we want in life. So I'm just super proud or proud of you, pumped to be able to be connected with you. And of course, to be invited back on the show. So I thank you again for having me today. Very much, my man. Now,
thank you.
Off the top of that Microsoft MindShare thing, I mean, yeah, this guy Bill, I don't know who this guy Bill is. He claimed it. No. My man, it's great to be back. And I love what you're doing with the show. And a big congratulations to you for the consistency of it. Seriously. We look backwards in time, and you and I, even as we went back in time the other day, You know, it's so amazing what COVID has done to everybody's time and our perspective of time and how we think, well, you know, yeah, it was just a few years ago. And, you know, you had said, you're like, what did we meet a few years ago? I'm like, no, man, like it was like before COVID. And now you start to put that in perspective and you go, man, that was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, yeah, over time. And look, this is to everybody that's tuned in right now. And again, thank you all for tuning in. Something to keep in mind here in the game that we play, especially in this real estate industry, it's a long game. And just the same exact way that you would say to anybody, if you want to make money in real estate, you got to play the long game. It's a long-term investment. Well, that's exactly the same idea here when we think about relationships and connections with people. You never know where it's going to go. You never know when it's going to go. You never know if it's going to go. But the more consistent that you are about keeping the lines open, keeping the connection happening with no ulterior motive of making money, good things happen in the background. And so, Dave, again, that's a testament to, I guess, the both of us, maybe the connection that we were able to make back in San Francisco when we first met, of just being two guys that connected with each other, stayed in touch with each other, have kept the lines open, and whether we speak, you know, we miss each other for a year or not. Yeah, every time we talk, it's just like it was like, you know, just yesterday. So it's very cool. But it's the same thing that I'm saying to everybody else that's tuned in today. Now, as you look at the journey never stops. It's been 20 years of playing in this sandbox in the real estate industry. We came in with a marketing company called KITS, Keep in Touch Systems. And the whole idea is to help people keep in touch, which is the same thing that, you know, you and I have done over these years, which again has led us back to being here again today.
Right.
Well, the more that we keep in touch with other people, the more we win.
Right.
And so that's what the marketing company that we started with does. Now, I fast forward right from that, and that's still running. We got thousands of subscribers using it. You know, we've got an industry-leading CRM, which helps pump a ton of repeat and referral business, generate new leads, convert the business. It's got, you know, everything from direct mail, the best direct mail newsletters you'll ever find, calendars, which are completely personalized, email newsletters, websites, you know, drip campaigns, action plans, you know, landing pages, like you name it. This thing is absolutely loaded. It's a powerhouse of a system containing the three pillars that anybody needs of a CRM. And I challenge anybody who's got CRM, which I hope you all have a CRM, ask yourself, is my contact list in the CRM? Is my calendar in that same CRM, or am I using a different calendar? We need the contact list and the calendar to be connected. And then is my marketing connected to that CRM? Because we need the marketing connected to the contact list. So all three of those pieces need to be connected together. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, well, I use Google Calendar and I've got this contact list somewhere else, and I use this, you know, I zap everything so I can get the marketing together. We all know that when we come back to, and here's the running theme so far today, consistency, it's not going to keep you as consistent as it should because everything's disconnected. And now the onus is on you to you know, manually be there for a lot of the other pieces. To play the set it and forget it game, it's set it and forget you. To have AI write it for you, look, AI can help with a number of great things out there. We've got to keep in mind, though, when it comes to AI, if you put AI in between you and your customer, and you start to get it to write the emails and respond to the emails and schedule your days and then follow up with other documents. Yes, it can do some of these things. And yes, it sounds great. I can do less. The less you do, the less you should get paid.
Right.
Don't expect to not work hard and then get paid a good amount of money. And people will realize that. Keep Blockbuster in mind, travel agents in mind, and the retail shopping industry in mind when you think about how much you want technology to take over your business. This question has been asked many times. How do we remain relevant? Well, continue to build relationships with people, continue to be present with people, continue to be a person, and you will continue to win in this game. The more you put technology in between you, the less we're going to need you, the less you're going to get paid, and the more obsolete our entire industry is going to become. So I'm getting frustrated with the big wigs and the conferences and everybody else going, we got to have all these AI speakers on here. We got to teach everybody how to leverage AI, and everybody's leveraging it.
Right.
And there's some great things. I mean, somebody said to me, if you don't embrace AI, it's like people back in the day not embracing the wheel. I got you. There's uses for it, but use it as a co-pilot. Don't put it in between you and everybody else. Okay. So again, I got off on a tangent there. Forgive me, but these things.
That's fine. I just want to hit my one point about AI. Well, it's a very important point. I kind of use AI a little bit differently than most. Yeah, I use it when I think, see, I don't think I'm the greatest writer of all. So
Yep.
I'll take something that I wrote, put it in there, I said, rewrite it, to give it a certain grade level, right? Because that's important because people are not reading on a high grade level. You put it at a certain grade level. And this is the point I'm trying to get through. Did I do it? And please clean it up if you have to. Look, 9 times out of 10, 80% of it's the same, right? But I use AI more like Google than I used to use Google. Because
I agree with you, but again, Copilot, Dave.
Yeah,
It's
Oh,
it's helping.
Oh yeah.
But
I
listen,
mean, the important part for me is when I get stuck with a line or something, or I get stuck with something, it's my Copilot to help me through.
yep.
It is not doing my business for me. It is not a set it and forget it. Look, I think we were in set it, forget it. Maybe when remember Top Producer,
Yep.
that program from Realtor years ago, that had a set it and forget it, and I hated it then, and I hate it now. But my point is that it's a tool. It's just like everything else. It's a tool. Kits is a great tool, right?
It is.
Whatever
And
Stern
look,
uses,
I'm not trying to promote kits over AI or anything else. And I'm not, kits is something that's there. It's a powerhouse. You want to check it out, check it out.
right?
Go to my website, mindshare101.com, and scrolling on the bottom of the screen. That's not the point of where I was bringing it up. Where I'm bringing it up is just to say to everybody again, be careful how you use it. If it's going to write
Yes, I
content
agree.
for you and then put content out there that you are not very abreast of, when somebody asks you the question, says, "Hey, Dave, that was a great email. Can you tell me more about that?" And you're like, "I don't have the answers." Or you look at the way the copy is written. I mean, we're pretty smart individuals, like all of us. We've
Yeah,
got certain intuitions. The more you read
yeah,
stuff that's coming out of, let's say, a chat GPT, the more you can realize that somebody just took something out of chat GPT. Like I can see
that's
from
right.
the style of the writing, I can see the hyphens that they use, the commas that they use. I can tell it's chat GPT. It doesn't make you sound smarter.
No, it
In
doesn't.
fact, it looks like you kind of, like copied something. I mean, we want to build up our brands, look like an expert in your field. Okay. Show people that it's all about the experience that you provide to them. Now, this is like a really long-winded way to answer the question about my journey. But the idea there being this is where Mindshare 101 started from this whole kits thing years ago. We realized people have this misconception of what it takes to actually market and brand themselves. And a lot of times in this industry, people just seem to think they know everything because they're a realtor. But let's be real. There are people that are really good with marketing, and there's people that are really good with sales, and people that are really good with negotiations, and people that are really good with surgeries and building cars and building computers. And I mean, the list goes on.
Right,
It's okay to be vulnerable and say, I could learn something.
right.
And so in that aspect now, we've also realized that, and I've learned over the years, Dave, that not only people struggle with marketing, and not only are they struggling with sales, and not only are they struggling with negotiation, but in today's world, 2025, most people are struggling up here in their minds because this thing that we call time and a lack thereof.
So I think we need to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay, I think we can talk about time. We can talk about the minds. I mean, I mean, as far as time is concerned, I think the biggest, for me, Dave, the biggest problem with time for agents is it's the same as it is with picking up the phone. There's an anxiety involved with it, in my opinion, right? And what I mean by that is, people want to get so much done. The real movers and shakers, or people that want to be movers and shakers, want to get everything done. And they look at their schedule and say, holy shit, how am I going to do that? And then something comes up like, with a family matter or school or whatever it is. And it turns out the anxiety comes. So what I like to tell people is, look, when it comes to your calendar, when it comes to your schedule, look at it the night before. And if you need to remove some shit and lighten the load for yourself, do that, because you'll do better with lighter load and no anxiety than with high anxiety and a heavy load. What do you think
Okay.
about that?
Easy to say, hard to do.
Yes.
We wear a lot of hats in this industry. You wear from a, business owner to a prospector to a client care specialist to a marketer to a bookkeeper, hell, marriage counselor. I mean, the list goes on for the amount of hats that somebody, especially a realtor, is going to wear on a daily basis. A mortgage broker, a loan officer, an entrepreneur, let alone somebody running their business. Like, it's nice to say, it's okay. You only do a few things. Or like, when somebody says, pick the top 3 things in your day and get those done. Like, I don't have 3. I got 300. And they include my children, they include my wife, they include me, and then they include everything else that you call business. And when you got multiple businesses, which gratefully we
Right.
do, it's even more. And then you got more people that you're working with in terms of your staff and your team. And it never ends. It never ends. Here's the thing. Actually, I'll ask you, do you believe in being able to manage time?
Do I believe you can manage time?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good answer. You can't.
No.
Like
I
I could
believe
stop
time
my
management
watch.
is bullshit.
Hey?
I believe time management is bullshit.
So there it is now. But what we can do is we can empower time to manage us.
That's correct.
It's a paradigm shift. Okay. If you think about it, we all got 168 hours in a week. We've got the same 24 hours in a day.
That's right.
Of those 24 hours, I promise you're going to eat, you're going to sleep, and you're going to use the washroom. What have you got left over? How many hours is it? Is it 10? Is it 12? Is it 18? What is it? In that leftover time, what are you doing? Now, when it comes to what you're doing, that's a bigger conversation around what are you trying to achieve?
Right.
And now
So-
okay, hold on. I'll extend on that thought very briefly for a minute here.
Sure.
What are you trying to achieve? If you ask the average person, if you ask 10 people, what are you trying to achieve? What's your big goal? What would they answer with?
I want to make whatever 6 figures. Let's use
There
that
you
one.
go. Money, right?
Money.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Best question I like to ask is, so what do you want to do with the money? See, I had a lady the other day ask me, or she answered that question. We were doing a training in front of, a larger group. And she says, I want to be a top producer. I'm like, why? I want to be more successful. Why? I want to make more money. Why?
Keep going, man.
Why? And she goes, well, I don't know, pay the mortgage and put food in the fridge and go on vacations. I'm like, so now we know why. So the goal is not just the money. But I want to hit home even further for a second, Dave. If I said to you and to everybody tuned in right now, and I want you to internalize this, right? You're on your last breath. It's the end of your day, like the end of your day. And I asked you, what do you want more of right now? What would you say to me?
Time.
So you and I just looked in a crystal ball, and I know everybody else who I can't hear who's listening to the show, which thank you all for tuning in. I know everybody just answered time. We've heard it in books and movies and stories and from elders, family, loved ones. It's time. So we just looked in the crystal ball. And the beauty is we're not on our last breath. So we have time,
right,
to spend it wisely. And now it's about how are we spending it? Because time and the currency of time and the currency of money go one and the same with each other. And yes, don't get me wrong. We know money makes the world go round. And if you ask me how much I want to make $1 bajillion. And I don't even know how many zeros that has.
Right.
I just want to take over the world. Not in the pinky in the brain kind of way, but take over the world. Right. So it's like, what are you going to do with your time to achieve that? And if all I'm doing is focus on making money every single day, one thing we both know, I'm not going to be enjoying my time. I mean, it's nice to make money. It's nice to do deals. I love it, just like the next person. But I also have a big Harley Davidson I like to ride. I've got a beautiful wife with 2 incredible children. I love helping people. I want to help more people every day. I love my sports. And I know I'm not the only one that has other things other than money that they love. So the question is, what are you doing with your time?
So when we can talk about time forever. And the thing that I look at that is a little bit newer to me than I ever thought of, because I always thought about helping people build time blocks.
Yep.
Because when I said time management is bullshit, you can't manage time because you can't stop it. You can't manage something you can't control, right? You can manage yourself and you can manage your choices, right? And those choices have to do with what you need to do to be that top producer, to make those six figures, to get the money, to get this, to have the time later on. And it's basically action, right? So I would say to everybody, when we talk about time and doing your job and calendars and schedules and everything else, it has to be what you're going to do with that time in the form of action, right? You used the word consistency earlier, right? So it's important, I believe, to be consistent in your actions and really know where you want to go so you can fine tune those actions. And it's more about choices of action steps and action blocks than it is time. Would you agree with that?
Oh, wholeheartedly. I mean, first, let's look at two things. I love the fact that you brought up that word action. Let's look for a moment and ask about habits.
Okay.
What constitutes or what formulates a habit? How do I change a habit? How do I adapt a new one? How do I change a bad one? How do I, inject a good one? There's 3 steps to a habit. Step 1 is the trigger. Step 2 is the action. Step 3 is the reward. So if I go out hunting and I literally have my rifle with me and I pull the trigger, the ammunition is going to fly out of the barrel, and that's the action. And the reward is I'm going to hit my target. If I said to you, when we think about habits and we think about a bad habit, if I said bad habit, what's the first bad habit you think of?
First bad habit I think of is getting
It's
stuck
not
on
what
social
you
media.
have. It's just what is the first thing? If I said bad habit, what people normally define as a bad habit?
Sitting on their ass on a TV, watching TV.
Okay. So why do we do that? There's a trigger. Maybe we're tired. Maybe we're bored. Maybe we haven't blocked our time properly. So all of a sudden we find ourselves sitting on the couch. We take action. We turn on Netflix, or we take action. We start scrolling our phone. Reward?
Right.
We got that dopamine dump by seeing something.
Right.
Another very popular bad habit that might come up is smoking.
Right.
Okay. People know it's bad. It's just bad for your health. So why do people do it? Well, trigger. The body says, hey, I need that. Action. We go and give the body what it asked for. Reward, we feel better. Now, I'm not a smoker. I'm just saying this is how it works. Could be going to the gym. Good habit. Trigger. We know we're going to go. Action, we actually work out. Reward, our body feels better. So every habit has those 3 steps: trigger, action, reward. And to change any habit, implement any habit, it needs a trigger. Now, in this case, the trigger would be, let's put it in our schedule so that I see it. I knew today we were going to be on this interview together. The trigger was it's in the calendar. Right now, you and I are taking, as you brought it up, action.
Yep.
At the end of it, it's going to be complete. And whether people watched us, listen to us, and I know a lot of people are and will, but we both get to, and not that we're going to physically do this, but a little pat on the back as the reward. Now, for me, I will tell you that, in fact, it's not a pat on the back. It's actually, for me, going into the calendar, marking it complete and graying it out. That was my way, Dave, of actually patting myself on the back. So I can tell you that everything that was in my calendar before the show today is already grayed out.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after it is still got a certain color code to it. The trigger is it's in there. The action is that I'm doing it, and the reward is that I did it. Now, let's go higher level when it comes to actions, because I love that you brought that up. Every goal needs an action. That action needs to be quantified, and the action needs to be mapped into the schedule. So let's give an example. If I said to you, I want to lose weight, I want to get in better shape, what would you suggest is the 1 or 2 things I need to do that?
I would suggest look at your calorie count, look at your calorie intake, and are you going to go with the calorie deficit? Are you working out? Although working out is not as much as important as one might think, but I'd basically look at it in and out calories.
Okay,
That's
so
what
you
I would
basically
do.
said food. You said food. I'm gonna like simplify
Yep.
that for a moment.
Sure.
You're bang. I
Sure.
agree with you, but I'll just simplify it to
Sure.
like healthy eating, food,
Right. Types of food.
physical activity. Okay.
Yep.
So if we say
Yep.
we want to get in better shape, and some people say to me, I want to gain weight, whatever, done. I want to get in better shape, whatever I believe that is for me. That's the goal. Now, I'm going to suggest that you have to quantify that goal. So let's just, for a simple one, say I want to lose weight. You say, how much weight? Because it's not just enough to say I want to lose weight. Same way, it's not just enough to say I want to make more money. We need to quantify it. So I tell you, I want to lose weight. How much? I want to lose 12 pounds. Okay, so 12 pounds this year. Yep. Let's divide that up by 12 for a minute. What do we get? Now, all of a sudden, it's not a mountain to climb at 12 pounds. It's a pound a month. Then I say to you, hey, you have 7 days, 4 times this month to lose a half a pound, or pardon me, a quarter of a pound. If you just eat properly, eat better than you were eating, and do some physical activity, you should be able to lose that quarter pound. Now, if you do that this week and you do it again next week and the week after and the week after, you should lose the pound this month. And if you continue that same routine, rhythm over the rest of the year, you should get to your 12-pound weight loss. It was the actions, though, that need to be mapped into the schedule. It was the actions that need to have that block of time. Because now I go lose weight, 12 pounds. Action is physical activity. Action is eat well. I'm going to quantify those. And I will tell you very straight, Dave, and to everybody, for me, working out, it's 260 times a year. That sounds crazy because it's a lot. It's 5 days a week. So it's not 7 days a week. I'm giving myself a little bit of leniency.
Yep.
Make a mistake. I like to play hockey, but I'll probably have a beer after I play hockey. So let's just be real. Okay. And I don't consider if once I play, I have that beer, I did not eat well today because that's a whole bunch of calories that I technically didn't need. But come on, I work hard. I'm allowed to have a little fun, aren't I? Okay. So 260 times I want to go to the gym. 260 times I want to eat well. It breaks down to 5 times a week. So now I'm going to map that into the schedule. Now, eating well to map it into the schedule, not necessarily. It's got to be more of a conscious thought when you decide to eat. However, the physical activity, it's got to be mapped because the physical activity is just an action. You following me here?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the action now is mapped in the schedule for a specific time block. It's got a color code. And when I see it, that's what it says I'm doing. Just like it says that I'm here right now. Just like it says I was on a coaching call this morning and I got 3 more coming up later on today and 2 other meetings after that. It's all got a map. It's all got a block. And whether I feel like doing it doesn't matter. That's what I'm doing today. Now, here's the beauty. As I continue to trigger, put it in the schedule, action, do what I'm supposed to do, I get the reward that I want. I'm now building out the good habits of having a proper routine. Now I'm accomplishing my goals. Now, I just gave you an example of losing weight and we went very personal. Well, let's get into money, which is also very personal. It also has actions. Phone calls, emails, social media, prospecting to meet new people. And we can get more finite into each one of those and what that looks like and what you got to do. But the point is, there's got to be a block of time in there for phone calls. Much the same, there's got to be a block of time in there for social media. Because if there's not a block of time in there for social media, we all know you're going to be chasing squirrels all day. And then you can ask yourself, why didn't I accomplish? Why didn't I get the reward that I want of more money or losing weight or anything? Because you didn't do the right actions. Hence why the schedule is the roadmap. It's the navigation. The goal is the address. The calendar is the navigation. Map the actions into the calendar. Block the time accordingly for what those actions are. Every action has a corresponding goal. And now as long as you move to your rhythm and you're proactive about your day instead of reactive to everybody else and what they want, every day is going to be a win no matter what. And now you've been able to leverage time in the right way. And it's all because of, right back to, the actions we take.
So I want to throw in a couple of D words here, right? A couple of D words that are very, very important. One is the distraction, right? Another dis word, which is probably the skill we need to have all this to work, is called discipline.
Discipline.
So Dave, you are extremely disciplined in what you do because your calendar, you got color codes, you grade them out when you do it. It's like checking a box, right?
Yep.
You talked about the list, right? So I do the hardest 3 things you got to do today. But you and I both have 300 things on that list. And it's almost like, how are we going to get those other 297 things done? Because they're always going to be on our freaking mind because we're going to be distracted by them and everything that's there. So is there a key? Is there a way? Is there a method? Is there a manner in which to get that skill known as discipline?
Yeah, build out the right habits. Focus on you and what you want. Like here, let's do this for a second. First, I don't believe it's the three things. I don't believe it's the top five things. I think that's a bunch of hoopla because I tell you every single day, and remember, and no offense to anybody who is, but I'm not working 9 to 5, 40 hours a week making milkshakes. I don't clock out at 5 and have lunch at 12. We, you, me, and most probably everybody listening to this made the absolutely amazing, brilliant decision to say, I'm not going to work 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. I'm going to work 8 days a week, 25 hours a day. Okay, so let's remember something.
Yeah.
We made a
Yeah.
choice
Yeah.
to do for us and give ourselves the opportunity for a ton of freedom and flexibility. With it comes the real life of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. Okay, so now it comes back to ultimately, what is it that you want in life? What is it that you want? And everything starts with the goals. Everything. And most times what happens is people will not, new year, new me, come say December 25th, because we're like, yeah, I got to do something. Everybody around me's doing something. I'm going to do something too. Come mid-January, half the people fall off. Come the second week of February, 80% plus fall off. The second Friday in January is known as Quitter's Day. Why?
That's right.
Because people did not properly map out what the goals were. They did not properly stick to what it is they wanted. They did not actually see it. They just kind of talked about it. It was like a thought that bounced around in their head. So the step one is to actually map this stuff out. Write it down. And if you're thinking, I don't know if it's possible or it sounds really hard, I want to remind you all, Dave, you're in Jersey right now, am I right?
Yes.
I'm in Toronto. You and I are having not only a voice conversation, but a real virtual conversation. We could see each other and hear each other, but we are hundreds, thousands of miles away from each other right now.
Yeah, probably 1,000 miles away, something like that.
How does this work? And if anybody's like, what are you talking about, man? That's technology. Yeah, no. How does it work? I don't get it. The same way people laughed at and love him or hate him, and I'm not here to talk about loving or hating him, but NASA laughed at Elon when Elon said he was going to land rockets on a platform in the water. How? How is this stuff happening? I'll tell you how. Somebody had a will to do it.
That's right.
Somebody put the discipline together in their own mind, no matter what was going on out there in life. They did it. They were disciplined to the process because they knew what they wanted. So you have to think to yourself, not just you, Dave, and not just me, Dave, but everybody.
Right.
What is it that you want? Write that shit down and do not let anybody tell you it's not possible. Because like I said again, electricity? How? I don't get it. We use it every day, right?
Somebody thought of it. Somebody thought about it.
Dude.
I mean, somebody thought about everything that we have in our lives today 50 years ago.
And
if you don't believe that, I'm going to give you an example of how true this is.
Yep.
In the 1960s, there was a TV show known as Star Trek. Everything they had on that freaking ship, we have now.
Dude, what about the Jetsons?
Jetsons.
Do you remember the Jetsons cartoon? They were doing this how many, 20, 35 years ago, 40 years ago? They were doing these video calls?
Yep. Hey, the only difference between this and Star Trek is we're real time. They weren't real time. They had light years they had to transmit shit. But my point is really simple. Look at what we're doing. Look at the opportunities that we have. Our lives are so much easier than they were, but we make it difficult, which leads us to, it's all about mind. It's all about it. Look, everything that stops us is our mind. And you talked about 260 days a year of working out. You talked about a lot of different things. And I came in and said the discipline is what we need in order to do those things. And I want everybody to remember, you asked me before, think of a habit, okay? And you were thinking of smoking, okay? The reason that I didn't say smoking is because it's a habit I had. And I don't think of it as my habit any longer. So I don't think of it as a habit. And the reason being is I have my own trick to stop from picking up a cigarette. I have a trick of I can tell you today is what? The 27th of February. My last cigarette was 7
28th.
years, 20 days and 19 hours ago. I don't think of it as a habit. I think I haven't done it in a long time. This is how I keep going with that. When we talk about working out, this is just a trick that I use. So everybody can have a trick. And that's why I bring it up. Not because, it's a big deal that I had my last cigarette over 7 years ago.
It is a big deal, man. Congratulations to you. That's a huge deal.
Thank you. I know the date and time. This broadcast, 352, 348 weeks in a row. You know why I don't do it? I don't stop. I got a streak going, man. It's very cool.
I'm the same way, bro. You just nailed it, eh? I asked the same question. I'm like, if you put in all this effort now and you struggled through getting there, and then today you're like, oh man, I feel like getting, going back. And it's like, but look at all the shit you just dealt with over the past few days, weeks, months, years to get to today. Right. Now you're going to fuck it all up just by going backwards?
No.
But here, let's take this further, Dave. What constitutes a habit? 3 steps: trigger, action, reward. You figured out what your trigger is. You changed the trigger, which therefore had a different action.
Right.
So now we come back. My trigger is the calendar. If it says I'm on this show, I'm on this show. If it says that I'm going to the gym, I'm going to the gym. If it says I got to make my phone calls, I'm making my phone calls. And the reality is, there's a lot of times I don't feel like it. I'm human. You're human. We're all human. I know you don't feel like it.
Dave, what pushes you through?
It's in there. It's in the schedule. I don't want to screw that up.
But
because I know that it works.
You can do whatever the hell you want. Why do you do it?
Hey?
Right?
Say it again?
You're the boss. You don't have to, right?
Oh, but I do. You see, this is the thing. This is the thing. I do have to do it. I got a team around me that if I don't do it, why would they do it? Bigger picture, what I get to do in life, which I'm very grateful for, is help a lot of people. If I don't do it for me, they're not going to believe that I do it. And then I can't speak to you as passionately about the fact that it works. I'm the same. We're all human. We're no better than anybody. We're all human. Right. We all got our own skills. We all got our own faults. We all have our own challenges, our own successes. The bottom line is I know what I want.
Right.
I know what I want. So when I write that down on my goal tracker and I attach the right action steps to that, then I map those action steps into the calendar. The calendar is what sets the discipline to do, because I know when I do, those tiny, tiny little wins in a day, they end up adding up to being what I ultimately want in life. So the triggers, I see it in the calendar, I do the action and I get the reward. That sets the pace for the discipline, because the more we do it, the more we learn, wow, the process works and it's really not that hard. I just have to work myself through it and not be able to look at the calendar and say, well, buddy, you didn't do it today. Because the only person that's going to really look and be mad at me is the guy staring at me in the mirror. And that's the worst guy to be mad at you, right?
That sucks.
That's the worst, man. We all go through it. We're human. Listen,
hey, man.
Let's forgive me. Let's take a moment. I just want to acknowledge mental health.
Okay.
Because we don't talk about this enough ever. Anybody. And more people than we know struggle with it. To everybody right now, we all have thoughts ruminating in our minds.
Yep.
Talk that shit out. This smartphone has not made life easier. It's made life more complicated. Okay. We used to check our mailbox once a day. We check the mail, we grab it. We wouldn't even respond right away. Now we're checking it 18 times every hour. Stop. Put that shit down. That's why email and social media also are part of the time blocks. So when I look and I say I'm supposed to be here right now, I'm not supposed to be checking social or emails right now. When I do find myself chasing squirrels for a minute, I can bring myself back through the discipline of what the calendar is telling me to do. Say, Dave, you're not supposed to be on social. You're not supposed to be checking email. You're not supposed to be picking up that phone call. You're supposed to be doing this right now. Keeps the mind right. Helps keep the mind right.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I want to ask you a little bit about something you used the phrase goal tracker.
Yep.
Okay. Talk to me about that. How do you set up how does David Greenspan set up goal tracker? How do you set it up, and what does it mean to you, and how do you build it?
So first, it's part of our coaching program, we offer this goal tracker to everybody that we work with. We show you exactly how to leverage it. And the idea behind it is what you want to do is you want to figure out what is that you want in life. So that's going to be, looking at your big picture in life. What does that big vision board look like? Okay. I got a client of mine who wants to retire from real estate within the next 5 years, take over the property that they own in the Okanagan out in BC, wine country, and open up a distillery making peach schnapps. Okay. What is it for you? I want to have a bigger house, a nicer car. I want to buy a cottage. I want to go on more vacations. I want to help an aging family member. I want to put money aside for my kids. I want to, be philanthropic, and I want to donate X amount of dollars. What do you want? Write it down. And again, I'm going to come back to this electricity thing. I mean, the planes. How are these planes flying in the sky? And I know people would be like, dude, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. I don't get it. It's not what I do. But somebody figured this shit out. So again, I remind everybody, whatever it is that's on that vision board, that big picture in life, write that shit down. Now, once you write it down, you've got to break it down. You've got to say to yourself, when do I want it? Let's quantify that in the next 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 7 years, 20 years. What is it? Once we can quantify by what time we want it, and look, life is going to change and these things are always going to kind of evolve. But if I get a sense of what it is, I can then begin to break that back down into annual chunks. So the goal tracker says we're going to quantify the annual now. I know what the big picture is. It's on the vision board. I've taken the big picture. I've broken it down annually. I know that in order to achieve A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I need to do this much this year. 260 workouts, 260 days of eating well, X amount of, social posts, X amount of phone calls, etc. So I have the goal. I've quantified the goal on an annual. And then we have formulas to help break that down into literally daily action items. So now if I'm like, dude, you don't even actually have to go work out today because it's one of the, the days of the 7, the 2 days of the 7 that you don't need to go. And I set the tone for when that is, because some days like today, I am not getting to the gym. I will play hockey tonight, so I'll still get my physical activity in. I won't get to the gym today based on my schedule. All right, all good. But I know I'm playing hockey. So what I'm going to be able to do, Dave, and us Canadians, by the way, you guys catch that Four Nations Cup? I just wanted to bring that up there. Did you guys catch that tournament? Canada, USA? Oh, you're on mute, man. You on mute? Can't hear you. Here's where I'm going as we got. Actually, I thought I'd bring that up to anybody that's out there that knows what I'm talking about. Go Canada. But I would say that, again, when it comes to, I saw hockey. Oh, here's why I brought that up. As a hockey player, I like to put pucks in the net. As a baseball player, I love to have runs go across the plate. So I like to see the scoreboard, and I like to know that I'm winning. So in our goal tracker, if every single day I do those actions, and then I mark it off that I did the action in the calendar, graying it out, it's one way to reward myself. The second way is to go into the goal tracker and mark it off. So if I'm supposed to be doing 3 phone calls today and I do my 3 phone calls, I'm going to go change the 0 to a 3. And I do 3 more phone calls tomorrow. I'm going to change 3 to a 6. And eventually I'm going to hit that monthly target. So I'm working to hit my daily target, which will add up to equal my weekly target, which will add up to equal my monthly target, which will add up to equal my annual target. And that's going to put me on target to achieve what I want in life. So from a goal tracker perspective, you have to have the goal, the quantity of the goal, and then the corresponding action steps to be able to achieve the goal.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
The microphone changed, but I got you.
Yeah, I did. I don't know what I did with my mic. First of all, the congratulations on the 4 Nations.
Thank you, sir. You froze on me at that point. I was like, did he watch the 4 Nations? So that was just a fun little jab.
Yeah, no, I get that. And look, you know what? As things have been great for you guys over the years, that you guys are now messing with this stupid lawsuit shit as well.
Ooh, you're talking in real estate?
I'm talking in real estate, yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I want to give you some insight for your listeners and I'd love to talk about this some more on another time.
Yep.
But everybody, I don't want you to worry about it out in Canada. I don't want you to worry about, buyer representation, all that stuff. Because let me just tell you the best way to handle it all. It's really simple. When you go work with a buyer agreement, you're going to set your buyer agreement. Whatever you got, however you guys work your laws in and work your rules in, you got a buyer agreement. I don't want you worrying about what the seller's going to give you. I don't want you worrying about what the listing agent tells you. It's part of your offer. You are now working more for yourself and no one's telling you what you're going to make, because that's what it was before. Correct, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's an aspect of that still where the listing agent is going to offer a certain percentage amount to the buying agent, and that's where they're trying to say that, people are steering people to certain
Yeah.
deals.
Yeah.
There's a reality to the fact that if, typically speaking, a buy side might get 2.5%, but you're only offering 1%. Unfortunately, there are those people that are not going to do the best by their client, even if it's the perfect house, because they see the fact that they're only making 1%. But I would completely argue that that has nothing to do with the brand, the company, the
Not
brokerage,
at
or
all.
the real estate
Not at all.
board or association. This has to do with the
Not at all. Right.
individuals doing the transaction.
So I just want to open everybody's mind to the fact that buyer agents are now more in control of what they're going to make than they ever were before. Now, this is not a huge story, not a huge thing here in the States, simply because a lot of agents still don't understand it, and they won't for years. One of the things that we do is really simple at Align. It's really simple. Our offer includes what the buyer commission is and is part of the offer. So when we make the offer, we're saying we're going to ask for whatever percentage it is. And that means that it's net to the seller less any other fees, this number. So we're including it. We're not letting the listing agent control anything we do. And the great part about this as a listing agent and as a buyer agent, everyone can make more money. That is the pure truth. And it's really easy to understand once you open up your mind to it, because now it's like, crap, what are we going to do? It's like there's this trepidation to it. It's really going to make your lives better. It really is. Not that, and none of this lawsuit stuff is true. It's all crap. There's the lawyers are ambulance chasers, plain and simple. So anyway, that's my
Oh,
2 cents.
I like the way you just positioned that. I think that there's some ridiculousness happening out there. I just released something the other day. So we've got the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, which is one of the biggest boards in the entire continent. And there's a lawsuit happening right now that's very much played off of what happened down with you guys, where I've taken the stance that I like what you said about ambulance chasers. To me, the lawsuit itself, there's no legs to stand on with this thing. It doesn't make sense to me. Yet for some reason, Remax just went out and actually settled, and I don't understand that either. It doesn't make sense. Like, well, it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. We're accepting responsibility, or they're accepting responsibility for something that I really don't believe they should have accepted responsibility on, because I don't think that they're in the wrong. That's my position on it. I come back to, we got way too many realtors in this game of real estate. Many of them barely transact. Many of them are not business people. And to those who are, hey, keep going, because you're going to keep winning. To those who are not, I got no fear in saying you're in the wrong business. You either treat it like a business, like an actual business, not just an opportunity to make some good money. You take care of people and you help people as much as you possibly can, and you will win. But if all you do is go out there every day going, how much more money can I make? You're never going to get to where you want to get to. It's just not going to happen. You're in for the wrong reasons.
So I want everyone to understand the things we were just talking about. It's all got to do with mindset. It's all got to do with your attitude. It all has to do with your discipline of what you believe, and learn what you got to learn. Just don't think look, this business is not easy, but it's also pretty simple. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. It's not an easy business, but it's not that difficult either, in my opinion.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, this is where it comes back to the time blocks and the goals and the action steps and the discipline. I see in my schedule, I got to make phone calls. Just make the phone call. But I don't feel really like simple. It. It's not hard.
I ask you the question: if what do you do when you don't want to do it? You fucking do it. And here's the thing: you got a 9-to-5 job. You start work at 9 o'clock. You don't just get there at 9 and start working, because your boss is going to be on your ass. You work 9 to whatever for then lunch and then whatever to 5.
If I say running shoes, what's the first company you think of?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to think of Adidas.
Please. What's the first company you thought of?
Under Armour.
No, it's not.
That's what I use. Nike.
I don't care. The first company that most people think of is Nike, period. And what did they say?
I'm not like everybody.
Fine, me neither, as you can tell. But point is, 9 out of 10 people are always going to say Nike. What did they say?
Just do it.
Just do it. Okay? And they just did it. And that's why they are who they are. Learn from them. Do the same. Just do it.
At the opening of the broadcast, David, I said we were going to do something different today. And what we did today, everybody, if no one noticed, and I'm sure they didn't, is I had nothing to. We had a conversation on it when I was driving, and we talked about different things. And honestly, Dave, I don't think we talked about one thing we talked about in the car the other day, which is what we thought would happen today. Anyway, this is when there's like minds, you can talk about anything and everything. And we don't have to agree on anything or everything. The whole point is our goal here, David, and always has been for 352 episodes, is to give back to the real estate community, that I can help people do stuff with the people that come on, such as yourself and all the people that have come before you, even you twice before. So I hope everybody that I have given you some information today. David has helped us along with giving back to the real estate community. Dave, what would be one bit of advice you give people moving forward? This is being broadcast, by the way, on February 28th, 2025. We are 2 months into the year of 2025. Just give me something that real estate agents can take away as what Dave Greenspan says. This is what you need to do.
Stop focusing on the money. Focus on how you can help other people. Okay? That's a mindset shift right then and there, because we get up every day looking to say, how can I make more money? And I'm with you. Again, I've said it a few times today on the show. I'm going to say it again. I love money. I want more of it. I got you. I'm there. I'm all there. In order to get there, though, you got to think about how you can help other people. Now, when it involves other people, part of that is, well, how am I going to connect with more people? And it doesn't mean stalking people on social media all day. It means being intent with what it is you want in life. Okay. So again, if I know what I want as goals, I can go out and achieve what it is that I want to ultimately achieve, so that person, that conversation I have in the mirror is a good one. And not just at the end of the year, but I'm talking at the end of every single day. So for everybody that's tuned in right now, as we look at February 28th, and we are somewhat 60 days into the year, which is like mind blowing to already think about. We're going into the final month of the first quarter. Your spring market officially begins tomorrow on March 1st. Is tomorrow March 1st? Is this a leap year?
Yes,
I don't even know. Okay, cool. So March 1st is tomorrow. You're going into the spring market. You got all the time in the world, no matter how you're feeling about what you've accomplished so far, no matter what you have not accomplished so far. Look, you're only 2 months in. Yes, we're already 2 months in. But you are not at a point where it's like dead end, give up, and throw the next 10 months of your life away because the first 2 months didn't go the way you want. This is your moment right now to reset, to actually look at the next 10 months and go, you know what? I got this. This show, this conversation today motivated the shit out of me to actually take action and said to me, it's actually possible. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is. Yes, you can. Do not tell yourself you cannot.
So the question about 2 months in actually came from one of your posts that I looked at earlier today. And I want to tell you the interesting part about that, David, is that this morning I decided that I'm blowing up my schedule and redoing it. So next Monday will be a completely different. Look, the time frames will probably be the same because I have certain things I don't change during the week that I don't have control over. But what I'm actually going to assign myself, the action that I'm actually going to be doing, is going to be a little bit different, because I'm really in learning mode and I'm shifting, right? So I business plan in September, early October, try it out for a couple of months, and then hit the ground running in December, not January, December.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Listen, Monday starts on Sunday. At this point, Saturday starts on Friday. Okay, 2025 started in 2024. Like, you got to adopt that mindset.
Right.
And just to what you said about changing your schedule, I just want to emphasize, Your rhythm is your rhythm.
Right.
I like to go to the gym around 1:00 in the afternoon. And people are like, oh my God, you spend an hour and a half at the gym in the middle of the day? Yeah. I own my businesses. I also rock and roll till 11:00 at night some nights while other people are watching Netflix. Doesn't matter what time I go. I'm not saying to make your phone calls at 7:00 in the morning, but if you're better at 3:00 in the afternoon than 9:00 in the morning, do your phone calls at 3 in the afternoon. Just get that shit done.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, you're working out 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. I'm up at 4. I'm at there
I
at
can't
5
do it.
a.m.
I can't do it, dude. I will not go to the gym at that time of the night. Morning.
I mean,
Night for me
but
still.
whatever. But here are two different people, that doing the same thing that have different schedules, and the schedule is really important. I just wanted to bring out, how I'm changing my schedule, because you can always change. You're never tied to anything as long as it means better action. And anybody that watches this to this point here, please reach out to either one of us, because a quick 5-minute call could really make you an awful lot of time, which means money.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Dave, I want to thank you so much for being on. This has been a great broadcast. It's been there was direction was what we made as we started, which is great, and that's how a lot of these are turning out to be these days, which is a lot of fun for me. And it's just great to do these things. And I want to thank you again. And the last question I have for you, David, is how can I help you grow your business?
Let me say a big thank you to you for having me back on the show for a third time. A big congratulations to you on the consistency of this show. And quite simply put, you continue to help me, man, by one, having me here, two, more importantly, being a friend. So I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, man. And last but not least, dude, I know you got a black one and you got a blue one, so now you're gonna get a gray one.
Yeah, love it.
It is
Love it. Add it to the collection. I thank you, brother. I appreciate certainly appreciate the swag. TGIF, thank God it's finale, and thank you all for tuning in today.
And quick program note: next Friday we have Nikki Pius, who is the conversion coach at Digital Maverick Reside platform. She is pretty badass, and we're going to talk about converting leads, etc. And she's really good. Dude, thank you so much for being on. Just stay on for a quick minute if you can, and I will see everybody next week. Hit it.